It opens wounds. When you hear, the victim saying that it was Diddy that shot her, that is what is the most remarkable. Oh, you didn't see that?
I saw it.
Okay. And that was triggered by a lawsuit from a producer that produced on the Love album, who is making accusations, and in those accusations he says that the gentleman confessed to the shooting. And that is what stands out to me the most, because I've done my best to put it behind me and to move forward. But it certainly reopens the wounds that I've been saying this all along. Everyone knew all along that I was the fall guy. But my political enemies and, detractors tried to make me into, this criminal. But everyone knew that I was a young kid that took the fall. Everyone knew that. That was the story. I'm just saying that I maintained my innocence all this time. I said I was defending myself. I didn't get into who did what. But the victim is telling you who did what. And I understand that there are other witnesses.
Is she accurate, sir?
I'm not going to get into that. But it does open wounds. And certainly I am relieved that people are saying what the truth is, that, I did not shoot those people. I maintain that I never shoot nobody, that there were other guns there. I always said that. That has not changed. And that is the testimony that came out. Fragments were never removed, so there was never any forensic testing to say who it was. But the victims are vindicating me. Witnesses are vindicating me. But I have moved on. 1998, December 31st, that was it. I said, listen, no more Cristal, no more buying out the bar, no more none of that. Like, I was so crazy. Me and Puff is cool now. We've reconciled. At that time, I was so crazy. I was such a crazy Brooklyn kid. I used to try to talk to his girlfriends. I might have even snuck off with one of his, favorite girlfriends. That's how out of it I was as a young boy.
Wait a minute.
Record and let him tell you the story. Maybe he'll come on after this. Because like I said, me and Puff is all right. I spoke to Puff maybe like 2 months ago. He supports my candidacy.
I saw y'all good. He supports what you're doing.
That's my
allegedly,
guy.
you allegedly did that.
Yeah.
Did you feel as if you were in fear for your life, or was you protecting your friends?
I was in fear for my life.
What would make you think, in top of the world, you in there with Puff,
because Scar, listen, no. Scar, who was the instigator, I know Scar from Brooklyn. Those are my guys. I didn't really have a problem with them. That wasn't my beef. That was Puff's issue. They had a problem with Puff for whatever reason. I don't know what their problem was with Puff. I'm not saying that it was a legitimate problem. But
so
that wasn't my problem.
What I'm saying to you is,
Scar, Nino, and the entire Brooklyn crowd was in Club New York. I seen them. It was all love. But when they started arguing with Puff, I know what these Brooklyn guys are capable of. I know what Scar is capable of. Once Scar starts saying, I'm going to kill you, you DOA, once he starts talking crazy, I became afraid for my life. I know what happens, once he says, it's about to happen, it's about to happen. And I seen somebody reach for a gun, and I reached for my weapon, and I defended my friends and myself, because once he starts firing, once whoever else pulls out a gun starts firing, it doesn't stop there.
So Shyne, you don't think, Shyne, you don't think I'm over here with Puffy? There's two ways to think of it. I'm over here with Puffy, I'm over here with J-Lo.
I think for him, it was more, he's a corporation. And, he's just thinking about the corporation. So obviously, something like that affects the corporation uh, terribly. But at the time, I was just thinking life or death. So
See, because I didn't know the
we didn't
story,
have
but
we didn't have an opportunity for him to say thank you for saving my life, for saving Jennifer's life, for saving all our lives, because he was thinking about the corporation and the.
I feel like you felt like the other lawyers was like, yo, my guy ain't do it. Maybe that guy did it. That's the word on the street.
That's absolutely what it was, and Puff apologized. He did apologize to me for that, when we met in Paris. And, he did say, he could have handled it better, but he was under a lot of pressure, from the lawyers, to throw me under the bus. And that's exactly what, Benjamin Brofman and Johnny Cochran and the entire Dream Team, that was their position, because again, Puff was a corporation, Puff, is a $500 million corporation. And so nobody is going to sacrifice the corporation, for anyone else.
When there was no one else firing, you would think that, I just pulled my gun out and started, blicking off, and that certainly wasn't the case. Somebody certainly drew a weapon, and I shot that person. And the ricochets, in my opinion, came from somebody else. And there's no proof, there's no ballistic evidence that links me, to any of the victims, because none of the bullets came out. But I definitely shot the guy that was trying to shoot me. I shot him in the shoulder. And that's because, after threatening us, after telling us they was going to kill us, after saying they was going to pop our head off, Scar, who's dead now, he, is a known, street guy. I knew those guys. So I know when they start talking crazy, that's not just talk. So when I see somebody go for their ratchet, it was, kill or be killed.
Oh, yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as it broke into the news and went viral all over the internet today in the hip-hop world. The interview y'all saw right there in the beginning with Shyne speaking on the shooting incident back in 1999 that later got him convicted in 2001 and sentenced to 10 years in prison as him being a bad boy artist in the club with Diddy at the time and Jennifer Lopez. They got into a situation where was threatened from his story and said, hey, he pulled this gun out of self-defense. Well, with him getting convicted and everything, this came up now as one of the ladies that was shot, Natalia Rubin, spoke up recently and has said that, hey, Shyne was not the one that shot me in the club. It was Diddy that night. And that started to gain steam in the recent headline news of Diddy being investigated, his homes being raided, and everything with that storyline. So with him doing this interview here right now and speaking up like this in the public and the way that he answered those questions, it's like, oh, are you saying that Diddy did shoot that night as well, or you not? He was saying, I'm not going to get into it. Most definitely is raising them questions up right now. Now, the interview y'all saw with him and Fat Joe on live, that was back in 2020, where he said, hey, I was there. This was self-defense. I didn't go in there with this, but this guy right here looked like he was pulling a gun out or he was pulling up. He was making threats. So I did that to protect us. I'm in the club with my friends and everything like that. Now, at that time, Diddy said he did not shoot in the club. He did not have a gun. Diddy car was pulled over outside the club. It was in the Navigator, him, Jennifer Lopez, and two others. And supposedly, which Diddy did beat that case, they accused him of trying to bribe the guy in the car to say that the gun was his and everything. And they was going to charge Diddy with the reckless endangerment as well. Shyne was looking at 25 years to my understanding with an attempted murder on there and everything. They knocked that down. He got the lesser charges, which was the 10 years, but he was found guilty. Now, the problem was in that situation, from his standpoint, as I heard him say, it was like Diddy was on some stuff like, well, hold on, I'm your artist. I'm supposed to be bad boy, and we on the same case. We co-defendants, and it's like, man, y'all just putting it off on me. Well, with Natanya Rubin speaking up, her saying this and maintaining this to this day, where she said that she's now willing to go through the process of getting the bullet fragments removed from her face to prove that Diddy shot as well and he was the one that hit her. Now, the write-up from 2001 says this from the New York Times about that situation. Prosecution witnesses, including the most seriously injured victim, Natanya Rubin, testified that Mr. Allen, who goes by the nickname Scar, threatening to kill Mr. Barrow, shouting threats like, I'll see you in Brooklyn. Ms. Rubin recalled that she sees flashes from two shots, one each fired by Mr. Combs and Mr. Barrow, and then grasped her face as a bullet smashed into her nose. I just saw bam, bam, like a bright muzzle flash from both guns at the same time, completely obliterate my vision, she testified. They both fired. 7 witnesses testified that they saw Mr. Burrow with the gun that night, some describing the bright light of a muzzle flash, others recalling smoke from his 9mm gun after the sound of shots exploded over the blaring hip-hop music. 3 witnesses testified they saw Mr. Combs at the club with the gun. And that's the question right here. Him saying that he was the fall guy and everything. It's like, man, it means so much. But she said, nah, Diddy was the one that shot as well. But in this same write-up right here, according to this write-up, she did say that the guy was threatening Diddy and threatening Shyne, and condolences to that guy's family. He's no longer living and stuff, but he was threatening them for what she say. So when you hear it like that, it's like, man, it's an unfortunate situation. You hear Shyne speaking about, well, man, somebody had to take the fall. He was the corporate guy. He was 500 million. That's what he was on at that time. He had everything going on and stuff, restaurants, everything. He was turned up. So it's like, well, hold on, we gonna kind of do it like this. But it's like one of them things where ain't no self-defense laws in New York. Shyne is saying I did shoot my gun, but it was in self-defense. But I don't know, bro. This is one of them things where it's like, what's what? Diddy did get found not guilty in this case. She's saying one thing. If they pulled the ballistics out and did the test, and I'm wondering, like, why didn't they do the ballistics back then? Why they didn't run those tests back then? I would think that they could have did that back then in 2001 and figured out something. I'm kind of like, man, it's just all over the place at this point. But I'm not convicted nobody and none of the other stuff going on with the lawsuit with Lil Rod. As I told y'all before, that dude lawsuit has no credibility from what I see in it because of the things he's saying. He wasn't there for that at all. And then on top of that, the storylines he's making up about being groomed as a grown man, nah, that ain't happening, bro. Like, not that. Nah, that ain't got nothing to do with this shooting, though, and what she is going through or whatever Shyne is saying. But I want y'all to hear both sides of it from then, now, and then look a little back into the storyline. And I'm gonna keep y'all updated on it. Tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all at 1,000 for shit show. Stay on your pivot.